President Trump, meanwhile, says Cuba is ready to fall after U.S. forces captured the Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro.
Are you considering U.S. action in Cuba?
We're not. I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we need any action. It looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count. You ever watch a fight?
I have.
They go down for the count, and Cuba looks like it's going down.
Senior correspondent Benjamin Hall is live in our New York studio now joining us. Benjamin, great to see you. What message is President Trump sending to Cuba and to the world, really, there?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to look back to the Monroe Doctrine, or as President Trump's calling it, the Monroe Doctrine, which is that if you are in the Southern Hemisphere near the U.S. and you are anti-U.S., you will be targeted. There can be no enemies over here. And the impact and the influence that Cuba had over Venezuela is huge. The Cubans came out yesterday and said that 32 Cubans were killed during the operation that took place the other day because they were Maduro's surrounding close security bodyguards. And some people think that without the Cubans, Maduro would no longer be able to take control. Now, Cuba relies heavily on Venezuela and Venezuelan oil, and it's interesting to see now that the U.S. is quasi in control or has some influence over there. If you shut off oil to Cuba, Cuba will really be affected as well. So he's sending a message that if you are anti-U.S., particularly in the Southern Hemisphere, we will come to get you. We will stop you, because that is the most important part of the world for us.
Yeah, and in the corner of the shot there on board Air Force One, when the president was speaking, you saw Senator Lindsey Graham. He was on a program yesterday with Trey Gowdy, Sunday Night in America, and he's sending a message to the Cubans following Maduro's capture. Listen.
There's no way that the communist dictatorship in Cuba survives after the takedown of Maduro. It is over. It's just a matter of time. To our Cuban friends in Florida and throughout America, the liberation of your homeland is close.
And you've seen the celebrations that have been happening, like in places like Doral, Florida, where 40% of the residents there are of Venezuelan descent. This is Rep. Jimenez saying that Cubans and Venezuelans can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. This was at a GOP presser earlier today. Listen.
For once, the Cuban people have been in this tunnel for about 60 years. The Venezuelan people have been in this tunnel for about 25 years. And now I can see both the Venezuelan people and the Cuban people can see a light at the end of that tunnel. And this is the beginning of a process.
Setting a very optimistic tone for the people there.
Yeah, they can see light at the end of the tunnel, that is true, but he's right to say this is a process. This doesn't happen overnight, and I think that President Trump has learned from previous presidents where you don't go in and just try and remove the whole regimes and the whole Cuban regime or the Venezuelan regime. This has to happen slowly. The removal of Maduro is going to go a long way, and that'll impact Cuba in result, but this isn't going to happen overnight. This is going to be over a year or two, and I think that it's going to take a while. But yes, they are saying that there will be economic pressure, there will be sanctions, and if they don't play ball, then eventually there will be further kinetic action.
Speaking of the economic pressure and the message this sends to not only places like Cuba, but all over the world, including Russia and China, what is the message that they should be receiving there from watching this happen?
No, it's the same thing, it is that we will bring justice to those who commit terrible crimes, and if you are anti-America, we will come to hunt you down. Now, Russia and China are really affected by this. Russia relies heavily on Venezuelan oil to a certain degree, and if you shut that off, that's not only going to impact Russia, whose economy is really on its knees, but that influences its ability to wage war in Ukraine. So Russia is looking at this in a really difficult way. They've given about $20 billion or so to Venezuela. That has been lost at this point, so Russia is afraid. China as well takes about 5% of its oil from Venezuela at really discounted prices. And once the U.S. has some say over where Venezuelan oil goes, it controls or has an influence over about half of the oil around the world, if you include Saudi Arabia and other countries where it can have a say. Once you get that power, you reduce prices, you hit the economies in China, Russia. And so, look, this spreads, and it spreads with the message that, look, the U.S. is not going to sit back if you are working against the country. President Trump's going to find a way of coming to find you economically, and as we've seen, perhaps even more.
It's interesting. It goes back to the point Martha and I were discussing earlier about the economic opportunity that could be unleashed. We just learned that Chris Wright, the energy secretary here at home, is going to be having a meeting with oil industry executives about opportunity in Venezuela, for which they would want to have certain conditions met to do that. But that sort of investment in Venezuela could not only directly impact the global oil market and perhaps lead to lower prices, but give economic opportunity to people in Venezuela to make use of one of their largest naturally occurring resources, and that is oil.
Yeah, 330 billion barrels they've got. They currently use about, or get out about 1 million a day. That's nothing compared to what they can do. And it's interesting to look at the relationship between Venezuela and the US on oil. It was Venezuelan oil that perhaps helped the US win World War II. You look along the southern coast of the US, you've got some of these refineries which deal specifically in the heavy oil that Venezuela produces. Now, they will start up again. You'll get Venezuelan oil to those refineries. That's big and big, both for the Venezuelan people, who, by the way, I was in Venezuela 25 years ago, and it was a country booming. It was beautiful. It was full of music and life. 25 years of this government of Chavista and the Maduro has seen that country plummet. That's what socialism and Marxist-Leninism, which they follow, does to a country. So yes, great opportunity in Venezuela, great opportunity around the world, great opportunity for oil companies, that the oil prices will come down. So oil companies won't be so pleased, but the people of America will be pleased. But that's not going to happen overnight. This is going to be over a few years while they gear the process up and get the oil coming out.
Politically and, to your point, economically, because it's easier for the spigot to be turned off rather quickly, but to get all of that up and running to make use of those resources takes quite some time. But there are U.S. companies that are saying it is worth the investment. We'll see what happens. Benjamin, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.